In this video, we're going to focus on how we can, for example, in this case, show the highest value on top here and the lowest value here. And this will work only with 2 data points, by the way. So what we're going to do is, if we change it, let's change this. You can see here now it adjusted and it shows now the highest value on top, which is now the red color and number 50, and the blue jumps down. So let's start to look how to do this. So let's start to look how to show the highest value in the center of the donut chart. So first of all, of course, what we need to have is our border template, which you can find here on chartjs3.com, getting started, this specific link here, which you can find as well in the description box. Once you're on here, just copy this chunk of code. There we are. And if you want to understand what this code does, make sure you watch this video here. So now, I'm going to paste this in there, and I'll cut this out, and then I'll just paste the title in here, save, refresh. Let's convert this into a donut chart. So I'm going to first of all change the size of it. Let's make this 80% for now, but if I save this and refresh, alright, that's still a bar chart. We need to convert it into a donut chart. Donut chart, save, refresh. So let's reduce the size of the chart by doing the following here. We can say, first of all, let's remove all the scales, because a donut chart doesn't have all these grid lines. So next what I want to do is, I want to say here, aspect ratio, and I will just do the same as a bar chart, which is 2:1. Let's save this, refresh. Alright, there we are. Next what I want to do is, let's remove the legend. We don't need the legend here. So we're going to say here, comma, we're going to say here, plugins. Then we're going to say here, legend. I'm going to say here display equals false. Save that, refresh, there we are. So now we have this. What we can do here is maybe change something with the circle shape. We're going to say a comma, and we're going to make this donut chart a bit more narrow, but not that much. So say cut off percentage, or basically cut off. I can say here 60% of the donut will be removed. So you can see here it has become slightly smaller, and we have a bigger donut ring. Or at least, sorry, a more narrow donut ring and a bigger hole. So what we want to do now is to put in basically this. We want to have a value here up and a value down with a line here. However, I only want 2 values, and this structure only works for 2 values. It's basically one or the other that we should show as the biggest value. So what we're going to do here, go up here, let's delete this, delete all of those. And we only have 2 colors left, and let's make this like that. And remove all of these other values. Save, refresh. Now you have one or the other, Monday or Tuesday. So let's start to draw. To draw this, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go in here in the, after the options, as you can see here, comma, and I'm going to say plugins. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make a new array. Or sorry, new object, and let's say this will be our text center. Let's call it like that. You can give it any name you want, so it doesn't matter. I'm going to say constant text center, curly braces, id equals text center, comma, and then we're going to say here, when would we like to draw this? We're going to draw this after the data set. So this is basically what we call the drawing time. Then I want to have here a few objects, this is chart, arcs, and the plugins. Once I have this, I'm going to say here object destructuring. If you want to understand object destructuring, I'm going to recommend you to watch my other video in the description box. You can find there the link of the video understanding Chartjs object destructuring. Very important to know. So I just go quickly over this topic here because I already covered that one in that specific video. So I'm going to say CTX, the data we might use, the chart area will be very useful. And I want you to have here the top, bottom, left, right, width, and height. But then maybe I just realized now maybe we don't need that at all. However, that's alright. Just put it in there for now. And we have next of the scales, X and Y. So what we're going to do now is basically we need to start to draw the items. And let's say here ctx.save, because I want to save the default structure of our canvas. And now we can start to work on it. And what I want to do is maybe the easiest one is to start with a line. Let's say // line, and I realize that the line cannot be fully drawn without later on the official width of the text. However, that's alright, we'll fix that later on. So let's start to do with the line first. I'm going to say ctx.begin path. We need to do this because we want to say into canvas that we're going to create a shape, and this shape, which is a line, will be not connected to anything else. So it's an individual unique shape. So we're going to say ctx.fill, I guess, is it fill style? Well, in this case, not really. This is a line, so we should have here a stroke style. And for now, I'm just going to use here the official Chartjs color, which is RGBA 102, 102, 102. And then say here, well, I'll just make this solid gray. So that's a specific gray color that Chartjs uses. The next thing what I want to do here is I want to define the line width. So the thickness of it. So I say ctx, and then I'm going to say here line width, and let's make this 3 pixels. And make sure that this is of course an equal semicolon. Next, what we're going to do here is we're going to start to draw the position of the line. So where do I want to put it? Well, basically I want to put it from this point to here, but I need to be somewhere in the center. We can use the trick of calculating the height divided by 2, but it can be sometimes tricky. And what I want to do here is just to get the official center of this donut here, which we can get through a code that Chartjs provides us. So what we're going to do here, quite simple, we're going to say here, let's do console log first so you can see this. We're going to say your chart.getDataSetMeta, which is a built-in functionality of Chartjs. And then I'm going to say 0, let's say a dot data index 0.x. And what this truly does is if I save this, refresh, it will calculate the exact position. Of course, let's do this again. The exact position here in the center. What would be here basically, the x would be the width. If I calculate this here, you can see here the width is 784 pixels divided by 2 will be 392.25, which we can see here. So this is all correct. So then this number is very important for us because now we can do a drawing of our item. Of course, the same will go because we later on have to have not only the center of the x value, which is basically the width, we also need the height, and that is basically this value, but then the y version. And they work for all the data sets identical, and the reason for that is simply because they are all same. It's the same data set here, and it's the same circle. So what we're going to do here now is ctx dot, and then we say here move to, and we put in here the x and y value, which we have here right now. Let's copy this, put that in here, and put that in there. Make this the y. That's the first one. The next item is ctx.line2, and basically we're going to get now the item because we want to have a line draw from this point to there, for example. So what we're going to do here, we can just copy this, but then later on we have to give it some exact length because now it will be just a dot. If I say here now ctx.stroke, save, refresh, I'm not sure we see anything here, but let's do this one. Let's say a plus 50, save, refresh. Now we get here 50 plus, basically this plus 50. So if I want to go back here, I need to do 50, this positioning, which is the x position, minus 50. So for now, we just do it like this. Later on, we'll make this soft-coded with a special command. So now we have our item here, and that looks quite decent. So what I want to do now is I want to have something here up and down, but we need to make sure that, for example, later on, if this Monday would be the highest value, it should be up. However, if suddenly something happened and it will decline, and Monday will be smaller, this value of Monday should move down here automatically, and this Tuesday value should be up. So we have to do here some work. So what I'm going to do here is the following. Let's create a simple array here, and this array is based on our data. Basically what I want to grab here is this one here, and check afterwards which one is bigger than and which one is smaller. And this is the reason why we only work with 2 values. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say a constant. Let's call this the order array. We need to know in which order it is, and we make this a blank array. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create an if statement, and this if statement basically gets the data, which is this point here from data, data sets index 0, and then data. So what I want to do here is basically say data dot datasets in an index 0 dot data index 0, and what I want to do is I want to check if this value would be bigger than value number 1. If this is true, in that case what I want to do is I want to say here I'm going to grab this array and I want to push the value, say dot push, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to push 0, comma 1, meaning we first put in this value in the array and the second value will be that afterwards. So basically we're pushing two values at once. And then what we can do here, maybe an else, now it's fine, and then if this is not the case, else 1 will be first and 0 will be last. This is important to understand because these numbers here will help us later on to get the index number of this one and our colors. That's why we have the array colors here as well. So now what I want to do here is, let's say here we're going to create a text. So I'm going to say ctx.text, and then we can do text align center because we'll be needing this. But I'll put it here up. And the reason why I'm putting it up here because we will have two texts. One will be here above, another one will be below. However, they both should be positioned in the center. So I'm only using this code once to keep it dry. So then I'm going to say a slash, let's say here the upper value, there will be the upper value, and then in here I'm going to ctx.fill style, and then we're going to say here, let's see here, what we need to do here is we need to get the colors. And what I want to do before I even do that one, I just want to show you the array here above. I think that would be a good assignment so that people understand. So let's do this one here, save, and if I refresh this array, we should see here now the array, and the array value is 0 and 1, which is correct because Monday is bigger compared to Tuesday. If I make this 9, save, you can see here now it's the opposite. 1 is bigger than 0, which is correct because Monday is 0. Alright, so this is all working as we expected. Let's start to get the values now. So what we had to do here is the fill style, and the fill style is based on the index numbers, which will grab the border color here, because then we're going to give the font here a proper color. So what I'm going to do here, well, let's make this for now quite simple. We're going to grab basically everything here, and then we're going to say a dot, and in the data set we're just going to grab here the border color, and then we're going to say here, and the index will be based on the array. Since we're going to put the highest value always first, that's the comparison here, we know that the upper value is the highest value, so we're going to put that there. Next, what we want to do here is basically put in the font. So we're going to ctx.font equals, and I'm going to say a bold, and let's make sure that this is a string value. So we say bold, let's say for example 80 pixels, and then the font family sans serif, which is a default font that Chartjs uses. Once we have this, let's start to put in the text. We're going to say ctx.fill text, write the text, and basically what we're going to do here is three items: the text, comma x value, comma y value. So what we're going to do here is, well, how do we get the x value and the y value? Well, most likely we can just go down here. This is the x value. We can just grab this and put it in here. Then, of course, for the y value, we do same, convert it into y, and like that. Save that, and then let's refresh. All right. As you can see, it works. However, what I don't like, it's just too narrow to the line here. Let's push this 20 pixels up. To do it up, what we have to do here is in this, once we convert it here, basically the pixels, we're going to say negative, or we deduct 20 pixels of that, so we'll push that a little bit up. Alright, so there we are, we get this, and you can see here maybe this font size of 80 might be too big. In that case, you can convert this to any preferred font. So I will just leave it 80 for me, that's fine. What I want to do here, of course, is I want to have the number and not the text. So what I'm going to do here, we're going to grab this as well, or sorry, not that one. We're going to grab just this, put it in here, but instead of the border color, we just can say data, save, refresh. There we are. So now this works nicely. Next, what we can do is putting in the lower value, and so I'm going to say here lower value, and the lower value luckily is very identical. So I'm going to copy all of this, put that in here, except this will be, instead of negative, I'm going to say plus. Alright, you can see here plus, that is not really that good. We might maybe push this more down. I guess we can push this. If this is 80 pixels, we should maybe push it 80 pixels as well. However, this one should be smaller. Let's make this 40, and let's say you have 50 pixels. Save, refresh. That is acceptable, I guess. So that is a slightly better option. Alright, so we have this one here, and maybe we could do this maybe 60. Then I'll just push this. That should be fine. Make this one a little bit bigger. Alright, so now we have this here, but of course this is the value. What should be the value? The value should be on index number 1. And here, color as well, number 1, save that, refresh. Alright, so now we get that, Monday. So now we have this one all working. However, what I want to do here is, of course, I need the width of this, and then I need to test this with a button that when you click on it, that the item will change accordingly. So let's start to look at the width, because we have the width here, but we already a hard-coded pixel amount. I don't want that. I want it soft-coded, because maybe a 100 value or like 3 digits, 4 digits, whatever. So any amount of digits, it should match this nicely. So what we're going to do here is within here, we're going to put an enter and going to measure basically here the measuring of the text. So measure text length. To do this, and I'm the reason why I'm doing it here and not down here, because basically you might say, well, isn't it not related to this? That is correct. However, whatever the font size is here becomes important of the measurement, because if I go and do it here, I will grab the 50 pixel in font size instead of 80 pixels, and then we have a different size. So what I'm going to do here basically is the following. I'm going to grab this text here, this item, and then what I'm going to say here, constant, I will call this our text width equals, and then I'm going to say here ctx.measure text, and this measure text will be this item, and then we're going to put in a dot the width. So once we did this, we can grab this one, and then we're going to say here minus and plus. However, I'm going to do something more here, but let's save this first to see we have this. And now you might say, well, hold on, isn't this far bigger than expected? Yes. So the reason why this is because we calculated text width, but we want to make sure that it starts from here, going there, but halfway only, and from here to there halfway as well, because it's the center. So we need to divide this all by 2. So what I'm going to do here, divide by 2, and let's give this a priority. So we put it in parentheses. Same story here. Divide by 2, save, refresh. Alright, so now we get this, and you might see here a few pixels off, which is correct because that's how it's being calculated. Anyway, don't worry about that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to make sure that this switches, or when this is bigger, for example, the Monday would be bigger or larger in value, this number 9 should jump up, or at least the largest value should be up, and then met with the matching color. So what we're going to do here, well, let's save this first. Let's go up here. And what we're going to do here is let's make a button. I'm going to say a button. Then I'm going to say on click, and on click, what I want to do here will be change. And then this change value, I'll just leave it like this. We can put in here a value, but doesn't matter. I'll just leave it like this, say change. And then I'm going to scroll down here. I'm going to create a function called change. And this function, all I will do is my chart, because I'm going to grab here the object, the chart object, say dot data sets index 0, and then here dot data, and then let's say here number 0, index 0, which is this one here, the red one, Monday, and let's assign a high value to this. Let's say we make this 50 points, and if we do this, my chart dot update, save, refresh. Now if I click on this, and let's see, there you are. As you can see here, once I click on this, it changes it nicely and it jumps from, if I normally say number 9 to 50. Let's look at that, and there we are. And that's basically how you can play around with this, making this a nice dynamic value. So if you enjoyed this video and maybe besides of this you want, for example, hover value showing in the center here, in that case I'm going to recommend you this video here on how to show text in center on hover in a donut chart, where we basically hover over every slice and it will grab the color and show the value matching with that.